Hey, my name is James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, this video we're going to talk about, are buy-to-lets still worth it? Should you be considering doing a buy-to-let? Well, I'll cover all of that in this video, so stick around to the end. Now, this channel is all about my investment journey and I want to invite you along on that journey with me. Now, we're building a portfolio together, but I'm also building a portfolio for my two daughters. I've got Georgia, who's 21, and we've just bought our first property in Doncaster. And today, finally, we have exchanged on our second deal, which will be completed on Monday, which I can't wait to give you guys some tours and videos around that one. And we're building a portfolio for my little baby Amelie. So take that finger of power, spin it around, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you can join us on the journey together. Let's see how it all goes. Now, buy-to-lets, are they still worth it? Because let's be honest about this. There's a lot of stuff in the press particularly, and a lot of people's perceptions is everything is bad for buy-to-let landlords. So let's look at some of those things that potentially could be better. So we've got inflation running at around 10% in the UK at the moment. That's expected to rise, and initially they were saying it would go up to 18%. Now they're saying it might go as high as 22%. That means that energy is going to go up, food's going to go up, gas, petrol, all these things are consistently rising. And what that means for people like us is that maybe affordability isn't there. Maybe the tenants that are paying you rent might struggle to pay you rent, right? So that's a potential downside for landlords. Now, there's a new rule that's fairly new called Section 24, which is also very difficult for landlords. So let's look at a typical rent of £1,000 here. And let's talk about how it would used to have worked. Now, maybe you had a £600 mortgage on that, right? So there are deals out there. Landlords have deals like that. £1,000 rent, £600 mortgage, £400 left for the landlord at the end, right? Now, that was when you were able to claim back expenses, right? You were able to claim back the interest off your mortgage payments. And now that has changed, right? So before, you would be paying tax on this 400 here, right? This is where you'd be paying your tax. So you get 1,000 in rent, you got 600 that would be going against an interest-only mortgage, and then you'd be paying tax on the 400. Now, that worked, right? And that meant that landlords made some profit from that. They got capital appreciation from that, and that was a good thing. Now, the rules have changed. Now you've got to pay tax on this much, right? Which means that if you're a higher rate tax earner, meaning you're on 50 grand plus a year and you're on 50% roughly tax, now you've got to pay £500 in tax against this 1,000, and you're only earning 400, so you are minus £100 a month. Not great. Now, landlords can structure these deals differently now, so having it in a personal name as a landlord is not a good way to invest anymore. You should invest through a limited company, and that will bring down the tax significantly by doing that. You can write off a lot more through the limited company. So that's one thing that landlords have had to contend with. Now, another thing that's going through at the moment is the energy performance certificates. So when you've probably seen those, right? You see you get an A down to an F grade, I think it is, and it's about how energy efficient your property is. Now, when you sell a house or rent a house, you have to have one of these certificates on the property to be able to do that. And what they're saying is that you've got to get the energy performance up to a level C by 2025. That means that you might have to put insulation in, you might have to put solar in. There's tons of different ways that you can improve the energy performance, but that could be tens of thousands of pounds to a lot of properties. And the belief is that landlords aren't going to be able to afford to do that. If you're in a 50 grand house up north and you've got to spend 20 grand doing it up, it's not going to work. And so that is another thing that's looming. Now, that might not come in. It's being debated at the moment, but it's there on the table, and it potentially is going to come in 2025, and that's going to push more landlords out of the market. So is it still worth it? Well, yes, it is, but you need to structure your investments in this way, right? So having it in a personal name is no longer any good, right? It's just not going to work if you put it in your personal name. You must invest through a limited company. That's very, very important. Then you will just pay corporation tax on the profits in the business, and you can write off different costs through there. So that's one thing that you need to do. Another thing that you might need to do is look at high income producing strategies. And that could be where you take your property and rather than renting it out on a daily basis or a monthly basis to someone, you could rent it out on a night by night basis on Airbnb. Now that might take a property where you've got £1,000 rent and give you £3,500 rent over a month. Imagine if you rented it out for just £100 for 30 days, that's £3,000, right? And trust me, in London, you can rent out for a lot more than £100 a day. And so that's another strategy that you can use. You could also use houses of multiple occupancy, where you own the property and you rent it out on a room by room basis. These are giving you higher cash flow strategies, meaning that you're going to make significantly more money. And that will mean that whatever happens in the market, it's a good thing for you as well. So that's a good positive thing. Now, another good positive thing about investing is that on average, every 10 years, house prices double. And that trend looks set to continue, right? It looks set to continue because we have been in an island that isn't growing at all. It's still very, very small. We need to build 300,000 houses per year. We're not doing that. And because we're not doing that, we are still, we just don't have enough stock. And so the prices are going up and up and up and up and up. And so I think that trend is definitely going to continue. We might have a little blip, we might have a correction at the moment, but on the whole, buy-to-let investing is still a very, very, very solid strategy. Now, I think that if you want to do it, like we've mentioned, 2 different strategies there, you should be checking out all the different videos on my channel about investing in property and what you can do. So go and check out all of those, give the video a like, let me know your thoughts below, and I'd love to know how you think buy-to-let will be in the next few years. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.